if I can recall correctly, Sean, we were in Arizona for what? Four days? Was it?
No, I think it was 3.
2, 1. It's the Shant and Ari podcast, you guys. Episode number 63. Shant, tell me you don't appreciate how consistent and bad these intros are on my end.
Well, I kind of just blame myself because at this point, like, if I really cared, I would have just came up with something.
The good thing about you, Shant, is that you realize the importance of taking responsibility.
Yeah. Extreme Ownership, Jocko Willink.
Yeah. Extremely great book recommendation from Shant. Extreme Ownership by Sahag Will. What was his name? Jano Willis? Jano Willis. Had a great time with you, Shant, over in Arizona.
Yeah. So in case any of you guys are wondering, we've been off for a little bit. It was Thanksgiving last week. Adi was here the week prior. We were not able to do a podcast together, unfortunately.
A recorded one, at least.
Yeah, a lot of things were going on. We were with the Lion and everything, and it just got... So how did you like Arizona, man? Tell the people you're here for 3 days. Tell the people what your thoughts are of Arizona.
I got to tell you, man, Arizona is always so chill. And it's something that, listen, I've been to LA plenty of times and I've been to Arizona now twice. I really appreciate the setup of like the bars and the restaurants. I just like how it's set up right now. I just like the way that it's set up. And in particular, because we're dealing with this whole COVID thing, I like the fact that people are still out and about and doing their thing. It didn't really stop them, which in turn, I'm sort of a little bit still worried because immediately after getting back, I had to test because the rates are just through the roof for COVID. So it was a nice little break from reality. It felt a little bit weird, but it was a nice little break.
So you did get tested?
Yes, absolutely.
So I'm guessing it's all good because that means I'm good because I was with you.
Very true. Yes. I got tested 4 days after I got back and everything seemed great. I paid $259 for the test in case you were curious.
How much?
$259 American.
Isn't it supposed to be free?
This is if you had the luxury of booking a telehealth visit a week in advance, and there was really no availability given that the week after was Thanksgiving. So
it's like some scam they got going on.
Yeah, and on top of that, a month ago I got the test done for $189. So
I thought it was supposed to be free. I haven't gotten tested yet.
If you get it through insurance, yes.
What is this guy Trump talking about? You got to get free.
It is.
Testing.
I mean, I have gotten it done for free, but there's some weird telehealth visit that you got to do. You got to go and get like a Zoom a phone call or a Zoom meeting or something like that, or your doctor's got to order the test.
Jeez.
Yeah. So.
Before we get into today's episode, about what are we talking about today, Adi?
I wanted to talk a little bit about sort of how I've been sort of like my mental process and how I get a little bit worked up, what goes through my mind whenever I'm about to tackle on something new, whether it be professionally or personally. Just like my whole train of thought, where my mind goes to, type of thing. Okay.
I wanted to run this story by you that I saw today. I don't know if it's old or not. I think it's pretty new. A New York City bar owner was arrested after defying coronavirus restrictions. Did you hear about that?
He was arrested?
Yeah.
By Cuomo himself?
Yeah. Yeah.
The fuck? What did he do? How did he
he,
die?
he defied the orders. He let people dine in, um, and he got arrested. He's been fined thousands of dollars. Supposedly, this is why I love entrepreneurs, man. Hang on, where do you was?
Didn't your gym? Didn't the owner of your gym do the same shit?
Well, the owner of the gym sued the governor, but that didn't work out. Um, so they had plain clothes like officers in there, like trying to like stake this guy out. And what he was doing, he's so smart. He because like you can't have people dining in and buying food. So he was doing mandatory donation. So if you sat down, ate food, you gave a donation instead of them charging you.
Douchebag.
So smart though. But they caught him. They told him stop. He kept doing it, and they arrested him. I don't know what's going to happen, but that's kind of fucked up, dude. Like, what's your thoughts on this? Like, you're a restaurant owner. Like, can the government tell you can't serve someone?
Yeah.
Really?
If there is a public health crisis and the health department is telling you, well, not the health department, but an authority that has more jurisdiction than them, the jurisdiction that oversees them is telling them that you cannot serve inside. It's a public health crisis.
Okay.
You're not allowed to serve no matter what. But in turn, they've got to also facilitate being able for these people to pay their rent. So I just don't find it. I just don't see how both grounds are covered. You told somebody that you can't work. Normally, when you tell somebody you can't work, in this case, there's unemployment.
Yeah.
For the people that own their own businesses, they also need that form of unemployment, which is, they said SBA loans, and that doesn't exactly pay the rent. It doesn't.
No. No. So this is where I disagree with you. I don't think they can say that because how is it okay? Because it's hypocritical. Home Depot's open, Walmart's open, right? All these big companies are open, but a small mom and pop restaurant, they have to shut down because we don't trust you to keep things safe, keep them thing. Why don't we teach them and give them resources, plexiglass, all this stuff to keep the restaurant safe, keep the bar safe, whatever it is, rather than saying, no, you cannot work, right? Because, there's a lot of hypocritical stuff going on where they say my body, my choice, all this stuff. There's the left, there's the right. I don't care what side you're on. But my thing is, you can't tell someone you're not allowed to have your business, but this business is okay. But there's people at the NFL football games. But there's people doing this. It just doesn't make any sense. And I think it's just stupid what's going on. Now, if you tell me there's a health crisis, we got to lock it down. Okay, let's lock it all down. Everything. Government, this, that, everything's got to be. You can't have 75% stuff open, but restaurants closed, gyms closed. Like, no, like that makes no sense. That's my thoughts.
So I guess I'm sort of just, I agree. I 100% agree. I'm trying to draw the connection between Home Depot and a food place in the sense that, okay, the reason why they're so adamant about having food places shut down and Home Depot not shut down is how thoroughly you're going to be inside the place with your mask on. When you're going to be in the place with your mask off, I think that's why they're sort of like, okay, your business can stay open, but nobody can eat inside because they're going to have their mask off. And I completely get what you're saying. Like, you can't tell a mom and pop to shut down, but Home Depot can stay open. I think the line is getting drawn on the connection rather is getting drawn on both can stay open. Just nobody can be eating inside either of these places. It's just Home Depot is not a place that you're going to be eating inside. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I get your point. The safety of having mask on, mask off. It's just I just see so many hypocritical stuff, man.
There is. There's a ton.
And instead of like just shutting stuff down for this long, you should have been able to come up with something to help these businesses. Because to me, the stimulus that they're trying to pass, 3 trillion, whatever billion, whatever trillion, I think, right? Like 1 trillion.
I don't even know.
Yeah. You're trying to shut down, like give all these people another allowance or stimulus check. But if you never shut down the businesses, but made it more responsible, give the businesses $1 trillion instead of 3 trillion, and said, hey, be responsible, keep within these guidelines, don't fire your employees, set up stations, do this. Like we have shipments of plexiglass coming everywhere. We got masks, gloves, everything set up. Like that's a better idea than going and just saying, oh yeah, shut down and oh you got fired or yeah, like here's this $1,200 stimulus check. Like the fuck's $1,200 gonna do?
I'll blow through it in a fucking couple nights.
Yeah. So I don't like it, man. A lot of shit goes on, and you're gonna arrest the business owner. Like, yeah, I get he's not listening, but I don't know. I respect the guy.
Yeah, exactly. Can you blame him for needing to fucking put the rent check out on time?
Yeah.
Fucking Manhattan. So I guess the connection that I'm drawing right now is like, listen, when all this first started happening, I was like, is this it? Is this how we're going out right now? There were so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck, man. There was a ton of anxiety taking place. And for all these, we're just now seeing a lot of these restaurants seeing their final couple days. And like so many restaurants are now shutting down in Boston. The reason why I'm actually looking to now move into a second location, the possibility was made possible because a place is shutting down because of COVID. And the other day we went to go visit the place, and the person who's listing the place, the commercial broker that's listing the place, is also listing 3 other locations within the same area that were all restaurants, sit-down restaurants. And I just couldn't believe it. Like, how does a landlord expect to actually get a rent check of like, say, $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 from a place that isn't even open?
Yeah, but that owner has the fucking bank he has to pay.
Very true, but the bank is even allowing the owner to put a delay in his payments.
Yeah, but it's a delay, but he still got to pay it. If the business goes out of business, even without paying the rent, he's still stuck with the bill.
Very true. So,
but yeah, I get what you mean. Like, so quick, question. And I know your business is the restaurant's a little different, but doesn't it worry you? And I know the answer, that there's 3 businesses within that person's listing that were restaurants that got shut down because of COVID. But then during COVID, you're looking to get one of those, not purchase, but lease one of those.
Right.
Is it a little scary or?
So I'll tell you immediately, the one thought. So I guess I have a few different feelings, like a few different worries, right? I had jotted down a few different things, but immediately when I was looking at, originally they put a sign outside of these listings saying like, for lease, contact this and this person. And I I took down the person's phone number, and it just felt weird. It felt wrong to be texting them about a new opportunity. Like I'm like, should I wait? Is this not a good time? But I'm thinking to myself, I'm like, we actually did pretty good during
Because
COVID.
I know what you mean. You feel bad for that like they're out of business and you're sneaking in trying to like take their girlfriend.
Yeah. And I didn't know. Like I'm hesitant to even make that text message because I don't even know for myself exactly how serious I am, because you keep thinking to yourself, this could be you. Like, you could be in that exact same situation a year from now. So anyway, just that alone, it was very difficult in itself to contact the listing person for the place. But more than anything, it's number one, and I guarantee you it's going to be number one for everybody. It's, what if I fail? And in this case, it's what if I go bankrupt, put my money into it, and fail? You sort of think to yourself, like, who gives a fuck if you fail? Obviously, you want to reduce the amount of money you put into it, but failing in this day and age has become so widely accepted.
Yeah, it's kind of fucking scary.
Right. Like, fuck it, dude. People fail all the time now. Like, people get more likes on Instagram when they fail
Yeah,
than
yeah.
when they succeed. So it's like, all right, we've established like a culture of being able to fail proudly.
You're
Right.
not failing, you're learning.
Right.
So you know what? I don't want to learn. I want to do good. Like, sorry, fuck you.
Right. But like you could see some truth in the statement. Like,
No, yeah, I
failure
know.
equals growth, failure equals
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah. You have to go through some failures, of course, but that's why it was good you brought that up because listening to your five next moves, he talks about in the book about if you did fail, right? Because you always have to look at when you're about to start an endeavor. I know some people are like, never have a plan B. Don't think of the bad outcome because that you're putting negative energy, but like you have to kind of know what your negatives are, and you have to look at it and say, all right, if the worst case scenario happened, what does that look like? Like, what is the worst thing that could happen? Is it, if it's bad, then you should probably reconsider, right? Like, I don't know what your thoughts are. Like, if you're going to lose your family's home and you're going to be homeless and you're going to have no money and you have kids at home, like you should probably reconsider,
Right.
right?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I would say this. I think
Bankruptcy, it's not a big deal. Wait 7
depends who
years.
you ask.
Yeah. If you ask Grant Cardone, he's fine with it.
7, 8, who cares? Just do it. Bankrupt the motherfucker. Um, so next was like, what are my friends and family gonna think? Right.
Oh, but before you go to number 2, do you agree? Like, it depends how big the fail is, then you should worry about it.
Yeah. You gotta calculate exactly how bad
Okay.
fail is. Is it life and death? How much time is the bounce back gonna take?
Yeah.
Is it something where you could get out without a bankruptcy?
You said something right before the bankruptcy, which I don't think a lot of people. I haven't thought about it, but the bounce back, that's so fucking huge. Like, okay, you could fail and you could start fresh, but like, what's the time period, right? Because that's what you're meaning, the bounce back to the next step. Because what if it's 2 years? Can you afford 2 years to bounce back? So that's a good fucking point. I like that. I didn't think of that.
So I guess the difference now between me and you, Shant, is that you can't afford a 2-year or 3-year window. I don't think. I can. Not a lot of people can. Because I'm not married, I don't have a kid. There's that in mind of how right now it struck a chord with you. How long is the bounce back? You can't
Yeah.
afford a long time bounce back. Nobody really can. But
Yeah.
when you don't have any major strings attached, you're kind of just like, fuck it, let's go in, you know?
Yeah.
So my concern is not so much as much it is the bounce back. My concern right now is what are my friends or family
Family.
or colleagues going to think if I do indeed have to bounce back? You know, how is that gonna now set the tone for future conversations, future endeavors until, I do something and succeed? Am I gonna be like, oh, like there's crazy Adi again trying out a new business idea? Am I gonna be known as that? Or, and it's not just me, it's
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
everybody.
And then you're going to hear the, we told them it wasn't a good, like,
Right. Right. So it's never a good conversation to have when the odds are against you. Like I said, 90% of restaurant businesses fail. That's not a good statistic.
what's
What
the retention rate? Have you looked at that? Like, after the first 5 years, if you've made it, what's that? Does that mean like you're good? Or is there still like a second wave that you should watch out for? Because what's that? Is there anything like that?
No. I do remember having seen something about like you even after the first 5 years, you're still susceptible to fail again. So the real discussion becomes how are you constantly shifting in the market? But you're 100% right. I do need to brush up on sort of the timetable, the statistics in the timetable of like how restaurants continue to fail even past their first 5 or 10 years. Um, so these are some of the biggest thoughts that are going through my mind, and they continue. Like even if let's say like when I got the Porsche a few months ago, right? It's like, all right, what if I fail to make a payment after a few
Mhm.
months? Like COVID, like that kind of put me in a tricky position. But you
Or
huh?
yeah. Or what if you have to like not have to, but or you go back to like a lesser vehicle, people are gonna be like, oh, what is he not doing well? Even though it's maybe not be it.
So for those of you that are listening, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. I actually just got rid of the Porsche because of the restaurant. So, had I not mentioned the restaurant aspect, you would have thought like, oh, he's probably not doing well, or like, oh, like Adi, you know, crazy Adi up to no good
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah, he was trying too hard, man.
Right.
But if you don't know, that's the first instinct, right? Like
Right.
people are gonna think when they see you driving, what are you driving now?
Got I had to apologize to BMW, and I went back, came crawling back.
Did you?
Yeah. Probably tomorrow, the next day, I'll pick it
No
up.
Jeep?
No, you know what it was, Sean? It's just I need I need what I need. You know what I mean? Like I just need it to be kind of low,
Yeah,
firm.
yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So long story short, though, these are constantly thoughts that go through my mind about first things first. What if I fail? Right? What's the worst that's going to happen? And the worst always seems much worse than it actually is. So until you kind of snap out of that and go to the next step, what are my friends thinking? That's my next thing. Or like, what is my family going to think? Then, in particular for business, it's like I have to now add one more thing to my fucking schedule, and it's like, all right, dude, my plate is already full enough. What
Yeah.
is the logical reasoning for wanting to take on more responsibility? You give me sort of your thoughts on that. What is the logical explanation for wanting to fill your plate up more than what you currently have on it?
I don't know. There's a lot of reasons for that, right? Um, some of it is we feel like we're not doing enough, so we just need to fill in every little empty space in our calendar. Sometimes it's like we're just bored. We want something new, which happens to me a lot. What were you gonna say?
No, no, I'm just
Uh, but I think it's also like you feel like, okay, I have to be doing something, otherwise, like I'm gonna fail, right? You're like, oh my god, I gotta put this on this calendar, this on that. I gotta do this, I gotta do that. And if you don't do it, you just feel like, fuck, I didn't do enough. When you probably actually did do enough.
right. I feel like sometimes you get so good at what you're doing and you get so quick at what you're doing that if you have even well you appreciate your you know your free and rest time, but me, if like right now I came home and normally if I'm not doing this podcast or with my girl, I'm bored at 8. I'm like, fuck man, like I just don't like not having anything to do.
Yeah.
I want to go to sleep.
So why is that going through your mind that like if like what is the feeling that you don't have anything to do? Is do you what do you feel like? Do you feel like
You know what it is? It's because I never not I can't just be free because then I get tired and then I want to sleep, which
Mhm.
isn't a bad thing. But then again, it's like, all right, you sleep too early, you're at a risk for waking up in the middle of the night. So between the hours of like 8 and 12, I need something to happen.
Yeah.
So I just in general, if I have free hours, it bothers me. It makes me think to myself, like, how much more, what else could I be doing? Or just the flexibility itself to be able to have that time. So if I now take on an additional responsibility, what the fact that I'm losing available time is bothering me. It's making me anxious that I'm losing hours of my day. Yet then again, what the fuck was I doing with that free time anyway?
Have you felt this more since you stopped the whole BAC, or not stop, but slowed it down? So like you have a little bit more free time now?
Yeah, but at the same time, it feels good. It feels good to have like a little bit of a mental clarity at the end of the day. But at
Yeah.
the same time, it's not like I'm being more productive either. So I don't know. I feel like this whole year has put a lot of emphasis on what actually motivates me professionally and what I can do without having to think or get burnt out as much about. Like being in the restaurant doesn't burn me out. Being in the restaurant doesn't make me mentally tired, emotionally tired, nothing.
Uh-huh.
It's like a machine that turns. It's so nice how it happens. But BAC is it's a mental clusterfuck.
Hmm.
Which brings me to number 4. There's in the restaurant business there's a logistical issue. There's being able to find the help that you need. I don't know if it's like this in the real estate industry, but there's a level of messiness that you always look to avoid in your profession. So if let's say for instance the messiness for BAC is maybe quoting a number, telling them a certain number and you can't do it, or you're failing at negotiating what they wanted and now you're getting deep. So there's a level of messiness that I try to avoid from happening, which makes it harder for me to work.
Yeah.
Maybe if you want to elaborate on that, sort of for you, if there is a messiness that you constantly have to avoid, and it sort of turns you off from wanting to take on more business, is there messiness that gets in your way?
Yeah, so a lot of times in like transactions, man, like, you know, you're under contract with a couple of houses, but then like the inspection report, there's tons of fucking issues. Your buyer's not happy, or you're the agent, the buyer, your seller's not happy that they're asking for this stuff. And then your other deal, it's like, oh, more inspection issues, or like the appraisal is not in, and everyone's just fucking hounding you. And you're just like, dude,
I just want to go on vacation.
yeah. You're just like, I just can't wait till this one closes and I'm done with it. But then the next one's just the same fucking thing. So it's just over and over.
Right. So I guess it brings you to that thought process. It's like, all right, you want to take on more work. You want to take on, or give the impression that you want to take on more referral business, and you know, but it nudges at you. There's a mess about to ensue. There's a
Yeah.
logistical nightmare that's about to take place. There's something that's making you sort of shy away from wanting to take more. And there's a level of avoidance that starts to build,
Yeah.
right? I don't know. I'm curious to know if that sort of has become a thing for you.
100%. You just, and it's minute. It's not even serious, but you just don't want to do it. You're just, like you said, avoiding, just doing this, but you're just kind of over it.
Which brought me to the next realization, Sean. And I hope anybody that's listening just connects with what I'm about to say. I've been involved in various different, I shouldn't say careers, but jobs, then careers, educational studies. And I always come to a point of burnout. Like it just, I kind of just don't want to do it anymore. And this isn't for me,
Yeah.
right? Pretty much, I can say everything that I've been involved in that has required some sort of mental capacity or physical presence has made me not want to do it anymore. Pretty much every relationship. I started to see a trend that the more and more I'm exposed to something, the better I get at learning it. However, the more I grow to not to want something new again.
Yeah.
That sort of shit has to stop. Not because it's wrong, because it won't actually help you excel. You could do it once, twice, 3 times in your early 20s. Start getting late in your 20s, you're kind of you're in a bad place. And I think the restaurant for me has been the one that hasn't made me yet avoid wanting to go there and wanting to expand.
But I feel like there was a one little point in your life where it kind of might have been for the restaurant, no? Like a small.
Yes, however, it was before a few experiences that were also showing me, hey, you're doing the same thing again, or like, hey, you're starting to like not wanting to like this again.
Yeah.
So I think it's really picking up on the subtle reminders that, hey, I don't think it's that's bothering you. I think it's you that's bothering you. You're chasing after comfort, wanting to go and just not do shit or not do anything outside of your box that starts to ensue when things start to get tough. So I learned this. I learned this about myself. The moment that there's a little bit of like a clusterfuck, I start to get like sick of it, man. Like too
Yeah.
many text messages, and then all of a sudden I got turned off from the girl. too many emails or like just flake customers, and I just don't want to have anything to do with the business.
So how do you fight through that?
This is more of a recent thing than anything else. It was because of David Goggins that I started to realize the natural thought process that takes place. Your mind is always wanting to pull you back into a comfort box, no matter what. It always, you create this personality for yourself. Like, this isn't me. Like, I
Yeah.
should be doing this. Or like, this isn't for me. I should be doing this. I think it's realizing that you're starting to create bullshit excuses for yourself as to why you don't want to be doing whatever it is that's giving you a hard time, but you're going to be doing it for everything. I think it's you just realizing that and doing whatever it is that at the very least you can tolerate, that doesn't hurt anybody, that makes you happy every now and then.
It's like going to the gym, and after a while you're getting up your weights, and then you get to a point where you just the weights get too heavy, and you're just like, you can either say I'm done with it and just stop. That's what I'm kind of hearing from what you're saying, or you just push through and say, you know what, fuck it, let me just keep working at it. And a lot of people sometimes quit.
And just to put into practice and put into a very, very major example for me, Shant, what you're saying, I could push through the whole BAC thing and being able to just keep on going with the negotiation thing. But at the same time, I would be not pushing through on the restaurant thing. So I think it's really just finding your focus. If you are naturally good at doing whatever it is that you're doing, then bravo. I don't know, I don't know exactly how much you can get out of this podcast, but if you have a hard time focusing on a particular career track or just being able to just commit to one thing, I think finding that one thing and getting rid of all the other shit is very, very important, because it really starts to consolidate your attention and focus. That way you're actually able to do something. Because I learned through doing a lot that you don't really do a lot by doing a lot.
Break that down real quick.
You could take on however many different responsibilities that you think you can handle, fill up your plate, so to speak. But you're not really doing much by doing a lot. If you're going to be doing it just to do it, as in, being involved in a bunch of different businesses, and, every business sees some form of tiny growth or doesn't even see growth, really, they're all failing. You're not able to commit or put into your attention 100% to see a really phenomenal growth of one thing. You're more interested in being involved with the possibility of a few different things that are maybe going to succeed. If you can, instead of doing that, focus on one thing, your likelihood of success is far better. So I don't know, through experimentation, through being involved in a few different things, I don't believe in it. I don't believe in it anymore about entrepreneurship, about being involved in all these different things. I believe in one business, being involved in one business, and that's it. But obviously have your investments elsewhere, but your main attention should be focused only on one until it's put on autopilot.
Oh, and then you could move on to the next.
Right. You can't run a bunch of businesses at the same time. I don't believe it.
You're right. It's fucking hard, man. I'm sure there's like a couple of fucking robots out there who could do it, but I think for the, like the one person, like an Elon Musk could probably fucking do that, right? There's some people, but I think for the majority, people like us, the peasants. Um, you're right. It's hard, man. And I've tried it. You've tried it. It's just talking about it now. It's like I've been through there where I get kind of like too much happening. Then I just push this business off or push this endeavor off, push this new thing off, and then focus on something else. And it's like, instead of just bouncing around, just stick to the one thing,
Right.
master that. And I think we're learning that, right? It's not like we've mastered anything right now.
I'm getting pretty good at Ani. I'm trying to master my craft at Ani. I think I'm more I should say this. I think I'm more interested in at least focusing on the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
thing than the second thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying we haven't mastered the one thing. That's going to take, you know, who knows? But yeah, that's that's good, man. I didn't know we were going to go there. Like, because you sent me what we were going to talk about today. I really didn't even look at it. I saw like 5 points. I like my points. I was like, oh, this looks good.
Like points. Yeah.
Yeah. I like bullet points. But no, it's interesting, man. Just talking it through. It's like, fuck, we all go through that. And I think that bar owner in New York City, he probably he went all in on his bar and now he got fucked for it.
I hope he gets through it, man. I really do. More than anything, I know that I know it's very, very difficult to run a restaurant right now. And, luckily I'm able to say, oh, I have to take on more additional responsibility. There's people out there that are like fuck you, bro.
Yeah.
Like now they're trying to keep whatever the hell that they actually have, and to make sure that not all of it gets, thrown out the window.
Are they doing another lockdown by you guys right now or no?
I think we're headed there, bro. Because if you look at the curve, how it keeps on going up, plateau up, it's on its third upward trend, and
Mm-hmm.
it's looking pretty bad, bro. It's like 4,000 cases a day or something like that. So I'm waiting for it any minute now. Like we're at more cases per day than it was in April.
Hmm.
So like I don't know why it hasn't been locked down. They're probably trying to avoid all these people going fucking hysterical. But like if they could, they would shut it down now.
We'll see. I guess we'll see in January when the new president takes over.
I keep forgetting we have a new
Isn't
mentally
that
ill.
crazy how like for the past 3-4 months, that's all people talked about. Now it's just like, whatever, man. I'm fucking over it.
Feels like a weird dream.
The American attention span is not really that strong.
It's all controlled by your like Instagram and Facebook feed. I'm telling you,
Yeah, 100%. Did
whatever's
you watch?
important just shows up in your.
Did you watch the Social Dilemma yet?
I did watch some of it. I passed out after like the first half hour,
Well,
40
it must
minutes.
have not been good then if you passed out.
No, I was just really tired that day. I had a couple of beers, just
Okay.
knock right out.
Uh, but you're right. They are controlling what we should care about.
And it's just an endless scroll, man. Even if you don't follow anybody, there's just
You know where I get my news now? Well, so
hotspot is.
my my phone knows, like, so unfortunately a couple of weeks, a month ago, when I go to Instagram and the search and you
Explore page.
and then it just tells you kind of all the stuff. So like a couple months ago, it was all like the Armenia stuff, Karabakh, all that unfortunate situation. That's all the updates I was getting. Now it's all NBA because NBA is starting up. I'm just like, how do they fucking know?
They heard you, bro. They heard you thinking.
It's
Fucked up.
it's crazy to me that I'm like, now I'm like, oh wow, this happened, NBA. Wow, this happening. I'm like, fuck.
Love it. Love it. So yeah. Very, very intricate, careful thinking and decision making.
Yeah. Just focus on one thing, guys, because that's what I'm trying to do right now. But I haven't master that at all. But I might start now.
Uh, just just keep in mind, for those that burn out very, very easily, sit down and pick whatever it is that you actually want to focus your attention on, and guarantee you'll succeed. And if you don't, you probably just need a little bit of Adderall. Simple.
All right. Well, I think we should end it right there.
I agree. Good night, Shant.
All right. Good night, everyone.